Hey, today I'm going to show you how I paint this 3D printed couch to look like a leather couch. I'm going to use a satin finish paint. This is the only black that I have in a satin finish. It's a Martha Stewart Beetle Black. I want to try to kind of dry brush so that some of the gray might still show through, and that'll be the scratch spots. But this paint is really thick and it's a good paint, but it's sticking more than I want it, so I'll go over later with a dry brush and add the gray scratches that way. It's always fun. So the 3D model I used, I'll put a link down below if you have a 3D printer, but I enlarged it by about 15%. It's still pretty small, so I'm going to use these little wood blocks that I got at the dollar store as legs for it. First, I want to give them a little darker color. So I'm going to use some cinnamon brown, and I still want the wood grain to show through, so I'm going to mix in some water with that brown to have more of a wash. I usually film these videos in time lapse, so I'm going to try and do this as fast as I can. Figured it's a pretty short video because the 3D printer already did most of the work, but it's a recent thing that I got, this 3D printer. It's a Kobra by Anycubic. I have some big plans for it. I've used it to make a couple things that are going to come up soon, and eventually I want to use it to make my own figure that I can sell and you could buy. So that's good. That's not dry yet. Better if it was, but it's dry enough. But you can see it's got a shine to it, kind of like leather. That's just because the paint is a satin paint. Dry brush a little bit of this dark gray. I'm just trying to get a really little bit on the brush and then spread it around as far as it'll go, so only a little bit sticks on the edges. And just going kind of randomly, but also in the places you think there'd be a little more wear and tear. And the idea is to do as little as possible, and then you can just add more. But if you put too much, it's hard to get it back. Try and get some legs. I think that's it. Now I have some super glue that I'm going to use to glue these feet on. Try to line it up as best as I can. About there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And now the last step, we're going to seal it up so it doesn't get scratched. Well, if it did get scratched, it's gray underneath, so that would look like natural scratching. But I don't want the paint to stick to any of the figures I sit down, so that's a good reason for sealing it up. And also, I was thinking I could just sand it a little, and some of the gray will show through. I think that was my plan instead of the dry brushing, since it's gray underneath. I'm using a nail file. I get a whole pack from the dollar store for like $1.25. I don't file my nails, but I use them for this. So it's like a good little sanding stick. But yeah, this gives it a real natural look. You get into the tight spots. And it's good to have just a cheap little chip brush lying around. That really helps to dust off anything you've sanded. I missed that spot. I'll just skip that corner when I do the clear coat. That'll be like the nicest corner out of all of them. Find a way. So this is an acrylic matte varnish. I mean, it's a matte varnish, but it's so old it got concentrated, and I use it as my glossy varnish. But a matte varnish, some of the shine would still show through anyway. So this is like an in-between. Semi-glossy, better in time lapse, because then I just show a little bit of this, and it only lasts for as long as me saying, now I'm putting a clear coat. Because after 250 videos, doing a clear coat on everything, like twice per video, gets a little boring, to me at least. But this might be the first video that you're watching, but I usually don't have to talk to the camera the whole time I'm doing this, or at all when I'm doing this. So this is new for me. But I do reviews, then I'll talk to the camera like this. But I'll actually try to, no, I always forget to look at the camera. Thanks for being here with me. Oh, some of the black is coming off because I went over that corner. I'm gonna call that done. I mean, it still needs to dry, and I'll have pictures going right now of when it's dry in like half an hour or so. I'll probably sand a little bit more after this is dry, but I'm not gonna leave these cameras on for another 15 minutes. So we'll just be looking at the end product. It'll already have been done in the pictures that are playing right now. Yeah, that's how time works behind the third wall, or inside the fourth wall, or from the fifth dimension. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, remember, always keep your head up. Peace.